We have a brand new jobs report out. Here's what everybody's saying about it.
Oops, we did it again. 303,000. The labor market is not falling down. We can tell you that. 275,000 is the last month's number before revision. We'll get an update on that for you. Change in private payrolls, 232,000. The unemployment rate does tick down to 3.8% as forecast. A lot of people watching the manufacturing payrolls number comes in flat. Was down 4,000 last month, so that's not as good as expected, but it's not as bad. And remember, we had that good ISM manufacturing number. Average hourly earnings come in as forecast, up 0.3 for the month and up 4.1% for the year. Now, it was 4.3% last month, and even though the monthly number was higher, base effects come into play there. Average weekly hours, 34.4. That's up 1, which suggests some additional strength in the economy. And the labor force participation rate is up to 62.7 from 62.5. The quick look at these headline numbers suggests that the economy is strong, the labor market is strong, and we're still seeing people coming into the labor force.
Now let's start with unemployment. Unemployment went from 3.9% the previous month to 3.8% in this past month. That's important. That 3.9%, that was the peak. That's the highest it's been in 2 years. 3.8% means it's correcting back down. It's slowing down just a little bit, and we want to see that. Now, if you watch me at all, I have tons of videos on here where I talk about the fact that I don't put a lot of credence in the jobs report. But what I do put credence is the number of jobs that are open. Now, the chart that I'm showing right now, this is from hiringlabs.org. And what this is showing is the number of open jobs on Indeed. Now, if you look at this, we saw this massive cliff that we hit. And then in the US, we saw it level out. And that level out is exactly where we are today. We're in that level period. And I think that we're due for a bump upward. If you look at the new jobs that are open, you can see this clip where they talk about the trend when it comes to new jobs.
It's all about the trend. So this month, 303,000 jobs added, strongest report in quite some time. But what do you see there on the right side of your screen? You see those bars getting higher, right? That is an accelerating trend of job growth. We are seeing the number of jobs added pick up. So that's unusual. What usually happens when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates is businesses struggle, they pull back on hiring, and that slows down the economy, that slows down inflation. What you're seeing on your screen is not that. What you are seeing is an accelerating pace of job gains. So 303,000 jobs added in March. That was a significant number, and it comes on top of an increase of 22,000 for the previous 2 months. So January was revised from 229,000 jobs to 256,000 jobs. February was revised down, but only by 5,000, so 270,000 jobs added. So what you see there is an acceleration from that low we hit in October, which was still right around 100,000 jobs added. And each month since then, we have consistently added more jobs than the month before. That is an accelerating trend. And if you look back, going back to 2021, right, you saw those big job gains as we were recovering from the pandemic. That was really just the economy kind of trying to get back to equilibrium. And then you see the economy slowing down. You see those job gains slowing down consistently. The bars are lower. And then as we move into 2024, you see that acceleration again. Those bars are going higher. And really, this chart just illustrates how we have seen over the last few months the number of job gains accelerate.
And I think that's correct. I think these new jobs are going to trend upward. Okay, so I'm not the only one that thinks this is happening. This is happening. There's an upward trend. Now, what I will say is they keep correcting these things, and I wish they would just put out the correct number in the first place. The reason I do is the second thing I want to talk to you about. What does the Fed think about these numbers? Now,
which is very much not what the Federal Reserve wants to see. That's not how you get inflation down. That's not how you get consumer spending down. That's not how you get, all these things that push inflation higher to come down, is with this accelerating number of jobs added. And so what we're seeing right now is very different from what you usually get in a cycle like this, where the Federal Reserve at this point has raised rates to the highest level in about 23 years. usually you see job gains slowing down. You only need about 100,000 jobs added to keep pace with births and folks graduating from high school and college and all those sorts of things. We're seeing about 3 times that. So this is a still hot labor market, and a labor market that looks to be getting hotter, not cooler, not cooling off, not slowing down. That's a big deal.
What is infuriating to me at times is when we look at these numbers and people are saying, oh, woe is me, we have less unemployment. Unemployment is correcting. And they're all worried about what the Fed is going to do because of this correction that's taking place. And the Fed has already said that a strong labor market doesn't mean they're not going to have rate cuts.
Chair Powell himself said he welcomes strong employment numbers, but embedded in those employment numbers are also a tick up in hours worked. That's great. That's more earnings.
If the labor market is ramping and increasing, if we're adding more jobs month over month, it says that there's an improvement in the job market. And I think it's true. I think there is an improvement in the job market. Now, the financial markets, they don't like that. It's not that they don't want you to have a job. The financial markets, what they really want is they want a rate cut. They want to be able to have this rate cut that the Fed is saying that they're probably going to do 3. And now that we're seeing stronger unemployment, I'm going to put up a visual from another thing where one of these pundits is saying, oh, well, strong jobs equals we're going to have fewer rate cuts. And they think there's going to be 2 rate cuts instead of 3.
And the good news is it's not quite as concentrated as it was in 2023, which means some of the gains are spreading out a little bit more. We saw some strong gains in construction as well, and retail still holding up in there. I think that's important to see more dispersed gains because we're not as susceptible to negative shocks, but that gets to the risk that Steve laid out earlier, that there could be some upside risks for inflation going forward, given the strength in the economy and the persistence, particularly in the service sector.
All right. What does all this mean? This means we need to worry a little bit less about the Fed, honestly. As people looking for jobs, it really doesn't matter to us that much. What we really need to spend our time on is what does this mean about our job search and how can we change what we do in order to move from point A to point B? What are the prospects that you're looking at? What's the likelihood that you're going to find a new job? I think there's reason to look up in this. Here's why. You see this increase in the number of jobs. I think that's real. I do think that we are seeing more jobs open. If you look at the UK versus the US, the UK still has a downward angle, a downward trend on this. The US, I think we're poised to go up and to the right. Now, what I'll tell you is now's the time to see it. So April is really when I would start to expect some movement. May, I also expect to see some movement. So that's my prediction. That's my looking into a crystal ball on what's going to happen. But here's what I believe in real life. I believe that people don't change jobs when they're about to get a bonus. And those bonuses were all paid out. I've worked at companies that didn't pay out their bonus until March. So they definitely got paid out January, February, March. By the end of Q1, those bonuses are done. And the hires that need to start, people are starting to look, they're starting to get active. If you get slighted on your bonus, you didn't get as much of a raise. That raise cycle is happening right now for most companies. That all happens now. And you may get grumpy and start looking for a new job. If you're looking for a new job and you change jobs, that increases the leavers, the number of people who are leaving jobs. And the stat right now for leavers is the 14% increase in the number of people leaving jobs, or leavers. What that means, it went from, on the chart here, it's 711 to 823, and this is in thousands. So 711,000, 823,000. So there's a significant move in the number of people, 112,000 people who are leaving jobs. Now, what did I say about churn? When people leave jobs, that's another job that's open. There are more jobs to apply to. The more chances you have for the right position to open up for you. Now, when a job opens up for one person, it means another role opens up for you and you can go, and that's more opportunities, more chances for you to find a job. So I think leavers is very good for people who are looking for jobs, people who are job seekers. The other thing that gives me hope in this is when I look at discouraged workers. This is the number of people who have left the workforce and just aren't even trying anymore because they've given up. They see something in the market where they've given up. What this is saying is all the eyes that are out there, all the people who are looking, are seeing more reason for hope. We have the discouraged workers is down by 88,000. It went from 425,000 to 337,000. So that's a good improvement on the overall number of discouraged workers. So I take that to mean there are lots of people looking for jobs. They're out there, they're seeking out, and there's fewer people they're just giving up, right? Where it's just impossible. They don't care. They're going to give up on this thing. So the fact that there's that big of an improvement on discouraged workers means there are that many more people who are having some luck in their job searches. Also, what that means for you is that there's that much more likelihood that you're going to find your next job. So I think there's reason for hope. This market is showing the first signs that I've seen in a long time that give me a reason to hope. I'm feeling positive today. I'm feeling better about the job market today than I was before. I hope this gives you some encouragement in your job search. Here's what I want to do. I want to give you some tools. The most important thing here is it's a absolutely free playlist of videos I've done in the past that show you how to find a job. It's in order from everything you need to do in order to complete a job search. So you can look at that. It's straight through YouTube. I don't ask for anything. It's completely free to you. The second thing is on these end credits, I've placed some videos that I think are really valuable for you. There's one on how to customize your resume for every job that you apply to. There's one over here on how to find a job. There's one over here on job search depression. I think that's an important topic. I keep telling people I think it's an important topic. And I really, if you're feeling discouraged in your search, hopefully this gives you some good news. But also know that you're not here all on your own. And this video talks about that a little bit. Best of luck in your job search. I think things are going to start looking up for you right now.